Hello Internet! Hey, it's Mike with 143. Today I want to talk about professional logo designs and the best way to handle them. So we have this wonderful group member, Tammy, and I say she's wonderful because she's letting me use, this as a case study to show, what happens when you get I've got two things actually. What happens when you get a real package from a designer and the kind of files that they send you. And I say real because this is a great package. She's actually sent me her, files that she got from her designer, and then how to use those as DTF transfers. But the other thing, and this is just a bonus feature, is she also sent me the files that she had removed the background and enlarged slightly in Canva. And so I'm so excited because, we get a lot of files and we clean up a lot of files at 143, and everybody knows that. But we struggle a lot because of the quality that's sent to us. And, what Tammy's done is literally what every single person would do. They would just take the file, they would find a file type that they recognize, and then they would use it in a way that they've been told or the way they understand. So, she took it to Canva and she actually removed the background. And when she did that, she also enlarged it slightly. And so, it's a natural thing. I'm not making fun of that at all. It's literally what any of us would go do our first, attempt to make a DTF transfer. But we've actually got professional files here. And so what's exciting is that she sent me these and I get a chance to make this tutorial for you guys and explain the different types of files and the drawbacks of using Canva. And why I'm so excited is because it might make our job at 143 as digital, the digital team might actually have an easier time, because if I can teach you how to deal with these files the right way from the start, it's just going to make your projects better and it's going to make our life easier. So that's what this is about. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is look at the designs from Canva. And so she sent me these. I think this one has actually had the background removed in Canva. And there's a few different things to talk about here. The first is what's the file size. So let's see if we can figure out the information here. Okay, I'm just right-clicking and clicking File Info, and that's pulling this up over here. So it says it's 3,111 pixels wide by 4,000 tall. So width is always first, and then tall. So 3,100 pixels is a little bit more than 10 inches. So it's 10.3 inches wide. But is it? It's not, because there's going to be some white space. So it's hard to see here, but you can definitely see there that there is white space around this. I don't know why I thought opening this. You can see that there's white space on the sides, so it's not trimmed. And so that way, it's going to be really hard to position things in the layout designer. You're going to get this big blue box when you're building your gang sheet around the file. And, it's 4,000 tall. So it's kind of the dimensions of a standard piece of paper, which is a typical thing that a lot of designers do. They don't trim around the image. They're just kind of giving it to you in a standard way. But this is going to be a problem because, positioning these is going to be a lot harder with the images not trimmed. Now let's also look at what's happened here. I think the file started out 1,800 pixels wide, is what she told me, and she expanded it in Canva. So when you expand it in Canva, we're just going to keep zooming in here until we get to 100%. And I know this is on your screen. You might be watching this on a phone, so it's really hard to tell the difference, but these lines are not crisp. So instead of having crisp perfection, we've kind of got this slight edginess. And then Canva, I don't want to criticize it because I know a lot of people love Canva. It does not do a good job removing backgrounds. No matter what anybody tells you, it does not. And I'm zooming way past the point where things matter because I want to make sure you can see this on your phone. It's left these little tiny trace edges all the way around. It's like a fuzzy edge where it's cut off the background. And so it looks fine if you're just going to use it small and maybe use it for a web project. But when you go to print this, the printer is going to see this edge and it's going to print all the way around your outside of your designs. DTF printers have a problem anyway, that they kind of highlight every little defect, every little artifact of your design. And that's a problem when you're dealing with this. That's actually, an issue, because you're going to see this white edge and it's going to make your design look bad. Now, we wouldn't let that happen at 143. DTF printers, have to be aligned regularly. And if they're even a slight bit out of alignment, you're going to see a tiny little white edge anyway. So if you give it a white edge, oh my gosh, you're really going to see a bad white edge. There's just no way to avoid it. So what our art team does, unfortunately, most of what we spend our time doing is cleaning these edges. And what we have to do is open it up in Photoshop and trace all the way around the outside of this and clean up these edges. And it's not too painstaking. We have some tricks and tips, to do it fairly quick and easy. But, we would have to remove this all the way around the outside of the design. And it's so nice that she's given me the opportunity to talk about this and show this off. Because when you initially remove this in Canva, you probably think to yourself, wow, that looks good. And the difference here is that I'm just opening it up in Windows Photo Viewer and I'm zooming to 100%. If you go to 100%, then you can clearly see that there's an edge and it's not good, okay? And it's really sad in this case, to have that happen, because we've got a beautiful package released by the designer. They've done a great job of sending these files to her. And they've sent all these different file types, okay? And so, EPS, that's encapsulated PostScript. So that's a vector file. And that's something that you could open up probably in CorelDRAW. Adobe Illustrator can open it. I think Inkscape might even be able to open it. I haven't really tried that before. I'm just going to talk about these different file types. JPEG. So JPEG we're all familiar with. JPEG is a lossy format, and it suffers from JPEG artifacts. So JPEG artifacts are results of the way JPEG works. It uses compression, and it'll actually take your file and make it less quality just by saving it in that format. But it's also the most compatible format, and it's the one that you would use to share on the web. Like when you upload something to Facebook, Facebook automatically converts it to JPEG to save file size. Okay, PDF. So PDF is a professional format, and it's perfect for printing. We don't accept PDF. We don't accept EPS or PDF. Of these five, we accept JPEG, PNG, and SVG. So we don't accept PDF just because PDF is a very kind of complex format, and it's really not made for the web. And so it's really hard for our layout designer and our code online to be able to process a PDF. Now it's possible. There's companies out there that handle it all the time, but we don't. So we deal with these three formats: JPEG, PNG, and SVG. Those are your options. So PNG would be the one that I would look at first. Just normally that's kind of the way things go. And so let's look at that. Let's look at the size. So this, let's see if it tells us our actual image size. Let's click properties. What is that going to tell us? It's not telling us much. Let's open this. Right click. Let's look at the properties, file info. So this is a nice big size, 3,489. And this one actually is trimmed. So this would not be a bad choice. That's a fine size. Yeah, here's the one with the hashtag. So this one already is, it has the hashtag, it has the format that she wants. Let's look at it at 100%. It's got that edginess. No, that's 200%, right? Oh, 100%. 100%, it looks perfectly crisp and clean. And there's no white outline. So this would be perfectly fine, what they sent. And you could print this. I'm still struggling to figure out how big it is again. Let me just pull it, drop it into my browser. That's something you can do. You can take a PNG file and usually just drop it right into the browser. Oh, it's not working for me because I'm inside a zip file. Let me get out of here. I'm just going to go ahead and extract everything in that zip file because things act differently when they're in a zip file versus when they're actually extracted. Okay, so let's just go back into one of these. Let's look at that PNG There's the stacked with the drop shadow. And then we should be able to just drop this into a browser. And then you can hover over the browser and see. So it's actually only 18, this stacked one is only 1873 by 891. So it's only suitable to print this a little bit under 7 inches. It's like 6.1 inches wide. 6 times 300 is 1800. So this is not very large. It's 6 inches wide. It's not going to be a good file. It's going to have to be upscaled in some way. Okay. So what's the solution? Well, the solution is to use the SVG. So an SVG is the best thing possible. It's a scalable vector graphic, and that's what that stands for. And what SVG is there's no pixels. So, on all these other file formats, even the PDF sometimes, it's all, well, not the EPS. So the only two true vector file formats are this EPS and this SVG. These other ones store pixels. And so pixels are going to always, just be fixed. And I don't know if I can actually zoom in close enough to see the pixels, but when you zoom in at some point on a JPEG or a PNG, you're going to see, individual pixels. I guess you can't see that in that program, but if you open it up in Photoshop, you certainly could. And, with SVG and EPS, there's no pixels at all. It's just math. Like if you open this up, let's look at this stacked with drop shadow, because that's the style she wants. So if you open this up in a notepad, you're just going to get literally styles. It's talking about gradients, and then these are just coordinates. So there's no pixels in this document. It's all just math. And by the way, this looks like a really clean SVG. There's just not a lot of extraneous vectors. And I'll show you another way to check that out. Let's just open this up with Inkscape. Open this up in Inkscape. And that's going to take a second. There it is. And then just grab your node tool and just click once. And it looks like we've got two. You've got the stacked white, stacked black. So those are the two. This is the outer edge. And you can see that this person that made this is a professional. These are really nice, very simple, wonderful, easy to cut. If you were going to cut this out of vinyl, this is what I would use. And if it's easy to print, because the beautiful thing about this is no matter how big you scale this, so if you take this and just, make it huge, and then, and I warped it too, but I'm not going to save that, don't worry. You can zoom in infinitely on this line, and it will never get pixelated because there are no pixels. Okay, so she told me what she wanted. She wants the stacked ones with the hashtag. And so she wants the blue, green, and the gold, pink. So we're going to go ahead and make her gang sheet. So I'm done talking about files. Just stick around if you want to watch me make the gang sheet. So I'm going to kind of slow down here because I want to make sure I do a great job for her. I love that the designer sent all these different file options too. That's really cool. Okay, so that file right there. So I'm going to copy that out. Put that out here. I'll delete these two just so I can't confuse myself. And then she wanted the gold pink. And we go in and get that SVG. And we want the with the drop shadow. And I'm trying to pull this out with the drop shadow and the hashtag. So that's this one. Awesome. So I've just used my administration powers at 143vinyl.com to go and log into Tammy's account, and I'm in her project section. So this is not something anybody else could do except an admin. They can come in and help you by building. I'm going to build her gang sheets for her. And my project section is totally empty. So that's really exciting. It's her first time using this. She's going to be so happy. So I just clicked on custom DTF prints, and because I'm logged in as her, when I save a project, it's going to save in her project section. Okay, so I'm just going to pop open the layout designer, and I'm going to get a 5-foot gang sheet because she told me she wants 10 of each of the gold pink and the blue green. So I'm just going to go in here, and I've got this, I'm going to call this blue-green, I think, because it just helps me put it into the terms that she was using. I'm more of a blue-green person versus a lime cyan person anyway. And I just tried to drag and drop that into the layout designer. I have no idea why I thought that would work. I actually need to take and actually upload it. And so it's an SVG, so it doesn't matter how big it is. And that's so interesting. It matters how big you make it in the layout designer when you're going to print it, but it just doesn't matter that it's so small when you load it in, because as you scale this up, it's just going to scale that math. So she said about 10 inches wide, and I think we can push that. I'm going to go 10.5 because that's going to be just about perfect. Okay, so I just set that to 10.5, and when the layout designer popped it in, it put it left 0 0, so it's 0 top, 0 from the bottom. So you can play with that. If things get out of whack, you can always change that with those little up down arrows to make things 0 out. And now I'm just going to duplicate it. So I need 9 more copies. So I'm going to duplicate it 9 times, and boom, it's done. And then I'm going to load up the next one, and it's putting a 1/2 inch in between each one of these. And if you want more room, there's nothing wrong with doing this and using a line to the right on each one of these. It'll just kind of give you a little more room in the middle there. And if I was really worried about saving every inch of this gang sheet, I know I could flip these and maybe squeeze a little bit out, but by making them 10.5, I'm wasting literally about a 1/2 inch, because you want about a 1/2 inch in between. So that now there's exactly, it's 22 inches wide. So there's exactly 1 inch in the middle of these designs, and they're slammed to the right and the left. So it should be perfect. All right, now I'm just going to choose the gold pink, and it's going to pop it right up there, right in the next available slot. I'm going to make it 10.5. Yep, that's the right one. I'm just looking at her notes. And then I'm going to duplicate that 9 times. And we've got a little more room. And so I'm just going to duplicate this again. Let's duplicate one of these. And I'm going to stick it over in that corner, because I'm going to come up here and just duplicate one of these. And it was not able to duplicate. It actually kind of got stuck, which is just fine. So I'm going to line this up down here and then slam it over to the left. And that looks like plenty of space in between to cut things out. And I'm just going to name this. I just looked at the name. What a fun thing, Champagne Yacht Club. I need to be friends with Tammy, obviously. I want to go to the Champagne Yacht Club right now. All right, and I'm just going to hit Save Project. And so for $32, Tammy is going to get, what is this, 22 designs? And you'll notice our layout designer only uploaded those 2 files. It only had to upload the 2 files. That's why we want you to build the sheets in our layout designer. It saves so much space on the server. It saves so much space. It only had to upload those 2 little files, and then our system has instanced those. So they're duplicated out the way we saw, totally for free as far as server space. All right, so 22 files. No, it's $32 divided by 22. No, that's not right. Clear out. 32 divided by 22. So she's getting these for $1.45 a piece. That's ridiculously cheap. And, if she wants to, she can use our Fruit of the Loom shirts and just go right up here and close out of here and go to shirts. Go to these HD cotton shirts and pick her shirt sizes, and you get these shirts for $2.90. So, her total cost, on some of these shirts is going to be $2.90 plus $1.45. So her cost per shirt is $4.35. So if she's doing this for somebody else, you can charge them $10 a shirt, and it only takes you less than a minute to press these on. So, you can make some serious money in an hour pressing these shirts. Hey, that was a little longer than I expected, but I hope that, discussing the different file sizes and everything helped. And I just want to say thank you again to Tammy. And thanks to all of you all for ordering your transfers from 143 Vinyl. We're here to help, and we love our customers. Have a great day. Goodbye.